Greetings, brave adventurers, and welcome to The Keep. My name is Lindsey the Keeper, and this is my assistant, Tao. It is that time again where people call upon Reddit and ask for judgment on a situation they went through, asking complete strangers to answer the ultimate question: were they the a-hole or not? Before there was r/AITA D&D, people who want to know if they were the a-hole or not usually post their stories in r/RPG horror stories, mainly because it's related to the TTRPG hobby. So why don't we go back and see some of those stories? Hey adventurers, here's a quick rundown on how AITA works for those who need a little reminder. The OP of the story asks Reddit if they are the a-hole or not. They explain what the situation is about and get judged by Redditors and folks like myself who read Reddit stories in general, RPGs or not. During judgment, they get labeled as the following: not the a-hole, you're the a-hole, everybody sucks here, and nobody sucks here. Understand? Good. If you agree or disagree with my verdicts, let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to hear your opinions about it. Okay, back to the video. In today's video, we have 3 AITA stories that are asking to be judged if they are the a-hole or not. Now, sit back, relax, and cuddle up to your favorite tendril as we dive in on these stories and judge our OPs. Enjoy! The first story comes from user Lost on Mid with the title AITA for being unconscious. Hey everyone, I am making this post because I am pretty new to playing TTRPGs and recently had a difference of opinion with my DM, who is also pretty new to DMing himself. Since I don't know if I have broken some rule of tabletop etiquette, I would like to know how you would have handled the following situation in either of our places. Also, English isn't my first language. A few weeks ago, one of the players from our weekly sessions cancelled a few hours before the session, and another player offered to use the session to start a campaign he had been preparing. I learned this while I was on my way to their place, so I didn't have time to cook up the most amazing and original character ever. I quickly put together a few concepts I had been thinking about to make a character that I think would be enough for an improvised first session, with the plan to make a more backstory later. Before we started playing, our new DM informed us that the campaign would be starting in a small town where all of our PCs would meet and ask us where they would be coming from or why they would be coming to this town. I told him that he could have my character spontaneously appear anywhere, unconscious and with no memories. He asked why that would be, and I answered that my character was wearing a cursed necklace, which would revive him in a random place without memories every time he died. I do not remember if he asked me more questions about my backstory, but I certainly know that I didn't give many more answers because I just hadn't figured out any specifics yet. As the game starts, player characters are making their way to the town from different directions, some of them having met on the road and some traveling alone. The DM makes my character appear in a flash of light near one of the other PCs, allowing me to describe how my character falls to the ground unconscious. The other player approaches, investigates, and rolls for medicine. DM looks at me, so I describe that my character does not appear to be physically injured, but is quite obviously unconscious. A quick question to everyone who reads this: what would you do if you saw someone lying on the ground unconscious?
What? Whoa! You! Wake up! Wake up!
You would look at them, sure, but wouldn't you eventually try to wake them up by shaking them a little or something? Because spoiler alert, none of my fellow players or the DM ever tried that, and it is kind of making me question my sanity. Anyway, the other player then gently picks me up and carries me into town looking for help, where they met the other players and local NPC who directs them into an inn, where we met another NPC who is obviously the first quest giver. They put me into one of the beds and then have an in-character small talk while waiting for something to happen, while the DM doesn't seem to be willing to hand out the first quest while I am still unconscious. We are more than an hour into the game now, and every character has inspected my character multiple times with no new information gained. Of course, I could simply decide to make my character wake up or tell the others what to do out of character, but I feel like that defeats the whole point of being unconscious, and I am kind of baffled that no one has tried waking me up yet. Eventually, everyone is at their wits' end, and the DM just asked me how I was going to wake up, to which I respond that, since no one tried to wake me up, I would probably sleep for a few more hours and then suddenly jump awake from a nightmare I was having. After some introductions, including the classics, "Where am I? Who are you?" you get from every Insomnia character, I joined the party and we continue the rest of the session without problems. Important to note, everyone, theoretically, now knows that simply being woken up when unconscious. A few weeks later, the campaign had been restarted with a slightly different cast of characters on its session when I wasn't there, so my character gets introduced in session 2. Once again, the DM asks me how I want to be introduced, and I tell him, same as last time, just drop me anywhere at any time. The DM does so, same spot as last time, and I am immediately found by one of the new PCs and several town NPCs. However, no one tries to wake me up this time either. This time, I even messaged the DM asking if some NPC can get the idea to just wake me up, but to no avail. Once again, everyone spends an hour and a half standing around my unconscious body, having small talk while waiting for something to happen, until the group eventually just leaves and the DM once again asks me when I want to wake up. Within like a minute, I describe my character suddenly waking up, speed running the dialogue with the NPCs left behind, and then going to find the party. After the session, the DM asks for feedback from everyone, and I tell him that the session was mostly good, but that my character introduction felt really sluggish. He seemed to be quite offended by this and tells me that it's my fault when my character just won't wake up and that he can't do anything about it. After some backpedaling on both sides, we seem to be fine for now, but this whole thing seemed really weird to me. How would you have handled this as the player or the DM? Do you think I should have given introductions for waking up my unconscious character? Or do you think the DM should have asked if something about my character is unclear? End of post 1. So I want to give a free rule of roles for the unconscious situation. If a DM presents everyone being unconscious, or only one person is unconscious, just roll Constitution. Constitution is the only roll relating to health-related situations, like being unconscious. The DC for it is like a 10, so it's pretty easy to wake up from that. Now, having that information, let's talk about the situation itself. OP, while this character was put together and you didn't have time nor effort to make it a bit better, you should have never expected the DM, who was also new, or the other players to know that they can just shake you awake. I would like to imagine that the reason the players didn't wake you up is because horror movie logic. Think about it. If a person appears out of nowhere and is unconscious, you don't mess with them because they can be one of 3 things. 1, they could be the victim of a terrible situation. 2, they are the villain and waiting to let that person lower their guard to strike. Or 3, they are acting like the victim but is secretly working with the BBEG. But in all seriousness, unless you state that it's okay to just wake your character up, or ask the DM if you can make a roll to just wake up, you're going to have very long sessions of awkwardness before they move on to the actual story. So OP, you are the a-hole because you expected people to know what to do with an unconscious body and not just waking up when they didn't know what to do. The next story was written by user C_championship_112 with the title AITA for forcing a plot point onto the party. I am currently running an ancient Japanese-inspired campaign where I am feeling like I am railroading my players into the plot they did not pursue themselves. Here is some context. My players have already played 3 sessions of the campaign and never really advanced the plot. They have been assaulted by the BBEG's Iron Warriors for a little while, and they never even got curious about why these living statues keep hunting them down. I then get an idea on how to get back on track. I described an inn on the road that looked worn down and in pretty bad shape. They decide to rest there as I have a character greet them, which I made incredibly suspicious, by the way. Then they bought the rooms, which cost them 5 silver for the 3 rooms. When they started sleeping, they were taken and later woke up restrained, blinded, and muffled. They start to leave these cocoons and soon stand in front of the... I really hope I pronounce this word right. Jorogumo, who had kidnapped them, and a boss battle ensues. But here comes the tricky part. After they made a deal with the boss, they made a collective sneak attack which killed the boss instantly. Yet I had a character come forward claiming to be the child of the Jorogumo and wanting them to atone for the death of their mother. She demanded them to pay the funeral costs, which they could not afford. Then I had her ask for favors, which eventually became to stop the BBEG from turning all non-spirits into mindless iron warriors. To do that, they were given a Luna compass to track the moon shards the BBEG would need to make a wish to the god of the moon. This was the major plot which I forced the party to be part in by having a stronger character threaten them into helping. But I can't shake off the feeling I am taking away their freedom by having a stronger character hold a knife to their throat. AITA? End of post 2. This story actually brings me to a conversation I had with one of my DM friends with this similar situation. So technically speaking, while this is a form of railroading, this type of railroading is actually a good version of it. While RPG and D&D horror stories have many stories that had the railroading that we all know and dread about, this type of railroading is more like what I talked about in one video, where either the heroes take the call of adventure or the refusal of the call. This is the example of the refusal of the call, where they, the players, got kidnapped, fought a baddie that was just surviving, and now has to go on the hero's quest. Plus, the important part is no one was complaining. It seems like they did enjoy themselves, and maybe they didn't catch the plot hook the first few times, but they finally got it. As long as they are having fun and enjoying the game you created, I say you don't have much to worry about. OP, you are not the a-hole in this situation. The final story is written by user LitMatch2025 with the title, I caused a panic attack in another player, am I the a-hole? I joined this group. I managed to convince the DM to let me run a homebrew barbarian, which was basically a slasher background. We got into the game and started exploring the city we were in. I can't recall the main plot, if there ever was one, as it got taken up by a side quest involving a bag of holding monster and the drama that ensued. There was a cleric of the group who loved poking buttons. He enjoyed being chaotic, which was basically his whole stick. My character was a silent ball of violence who I displayed had severe trauma from some awful experience. We had just gone through a scene where my character had gone through a panic attack before being calmed by some of the party. Great bonding moment. Cleric felt the need to pester my character. Due to his personality, I made a few things clear. He does not like being touched, and he does not like spells being cast on him. Cleric proceeded to do both of these things. He cast an enchantment spell to try and command my character to do something to loosen up. Having just gone through a panic attack and being a barbarian, my character grabs the cleric by the throat. My intent is to tell him off, not actual fighting. Cleric cats inflict wounds. Are we fighting? Well, the cleric is. My character isn't trying to kill him or even hit him. He is trying to pin him to the ground before talking. My character yells at him for crossing a line before leaving him on the ground unharmed. The party took my side in that fight and told the cleric off for his behavior. DM says cleric's god gave up on him or something because he announced that the cleric's god gave up on him. The drama only occurred after session. I was on the couch enjoying my ice cream, thinking it was a fun RP session. The drama only occurred after session. I was on the couch enjoying my ice cream, thinking it was a fun RP session, when the DM tells me the cleric's player is having an IRL panic attack. My character overpowering him reminded him of high school when he was bullied and freaked out. DM told me I should apologize. I would like to state that throughout the fight, I kept trying to give the cleric an out. I didn't want to PvP, which is why I suspected the party took my side as it was clear the cleric refused to just take the L. So at the time, I didn't feel like I had done anything wrong. Thus, I felt I had no responsibility to say sorry. Next session, everything's seemingly back to normal. I didn't like how the DM handled the situation though, so I eventually left. I am posting to ask if I was the a-hole. I have done more growing recently and I am questioning if I should have apologized instead of being so stubborn. End of post 3. Now, let's pretend for a moment OP didn't give cleric a chance to back off. In that situation, if OP did that and caused cleric to have a panic attack IRL, I would say that they should apologize to him. But that's not the case. OP stated he didn't want to fight. He gave cleric many opportunities to back off, and cleric was known to push buttons, and cleric decided to push the buttons to the definition of physical prowess. Honestly, faults on the cleric for playing a character that likes to provoke those around him, and the DM for trying to make OP apologize for it. Because think about it. If you knew someone in real life that loves to push people's button, even when you warn them not to do it, one day they will push the wrong person, and unlike OP who gave cleric a chance to back down, would just straight up punch that person in the face. So OP, you are not the a-hole. It's a very confusing situation though, I will give you that. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. If you'd like to give me more support, you can follow me on my socials through my Linktree, and if you have stories you want me to read, please post them on my subreddit or email it to me. Until then, may you find your worth in the waking world.